In a few of the previous lessons, we did a little bit of proofing in our presentation by checking spelling. We also looked up synonyms using a built-in thesaurus, and we even translated some text. Well, one of the options we haven't looked at yet is called autocorrect, and we haven't looked at some of the other proofing options you have available to you in PowerPoint 2007, so we're going to do that next. Now, just before we look at the options, I want to show you something that's kind of neat. And you can see I'm using ECP ePerformance 6C from the previous lesson. If you wanted to follow along, you could by opening that presentation. But I'm going to come down here where it says Bolster Organizational Performance, and I'm just going to click here before Organizational and type in ECP and hit my space bar. You can see what happened here. Eat Cake Patisserie just took the place of ECP as I typed it. That's called autocorrect. Now, it's not going to work for you until you put it into the autocorrect dictionary. So that's something we're going to look at now. We access the proofing options a number of different ways. We could do it from the research pane, from the spelling dialog, or if none of those are open, we go up to the Office button and we come down here to PowerPoint Options. Give that a click. You can see we've got some categories here down the left-hand side, and proofing is the one we want to click on. And here you see it right at the top, autocorrect options. So how did I get Eat Cake Patisserie to show up every time I type ECP? I added it to the dictionary here by clicking autocorrect options. So let's click that button. Now in the autocorrect dialog box, you've got three tabs. You've got autocorrect, you've also got auto format as you type, and something called smart tags. Well, under the autocorrect, you can see that I've got check marks in all of these boxes. Show autocorrect options buttons. Correct two initial capitals, so if you've ever accidentally held the shift key down for a little bit too long, no problem. If you get the first two characters showing up in capitals, it'll change the second one back to lowercase so it looks right. Capitalize the first letter of sentences. Now, this one I'm iffy about because whenever PowerPoint recognizes a period, it wants to start the next word with a capital. Well, sometimes you've got abbreviations and so on where you don't want the next word to be capitalized, so you can actually come in here and click on exceptions, which is kind of neat. So here you see abbreviations, and if any of these show up, it won't capitalize the next word for you. So we'll just hit cancel here, and you can add your own to that, which is kind of neat. You've got capitalized names of days and capitalized first letter in table cells. All of that's automatic. So if you forget to capitalize a letter, it does it for you. This happens sometimes. You got the caps lock key on and you forgot, and you hit the shift key. So everything you type is the reverse of what you want. So the first letter is lowercase and everything else is capitalized. Well, PowerPoint 2007 will recognize that and fix it for you, and even turn the caps lock key off. Replace text as you type is what you just saw when I typed in ECP, and down below is the list of replacements and what they're replaced with. So you can see right here at the top we got some neat ones, like the letter C in brackets is going to give us the copyright symbol, and here's our registered trademark and trademark symbols. Here's some common typos. About with two B's is replaced with the correct spelling. And there's a whole long list in here of autocorrect entries. Now we can enter our own, and this is what I did. I typed in ECP here, and you can see it's already in my dictionary. ECP is replaced with Eat Cake Patisserie. So if you had your own, you could put it in here and what you want to replace it with here. Now if you didn't want an entry anymore in your dictionary or on your list, you just simply highlight it here like we did and click the delete button to remove it. Okay, so it's there still if I wanted to add it, but it's not on my list. Alright, so that kind of covers autocorrect, and we'll test this out in a second. You've also got auto format as you type. Straight quotes are replaced with what we call smart quotes, where they're kind of rounded as opposed to straight up and down. Fractions are replaced with, for example, 1/2 with the actual fraction symbol. And you've got a whole bunch of other ones to take a look at. Look at automatic bulleted and numbered lists. So when you start typing with a dash, let's say, and you hit enter and you do that again, PowerPoint picks up that and starts creating an automatically bulleted or numbered list for you. So all kinds of cool things in here. Autocorrect, though, is the one I want to tell you about. It's the one that's used most often and can save you a lot of time. When you put in a replacement here, there was one that I used to use all the time, CHEO, which was the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, a place I worked at for over 10 years. Well, I didn't want to have to type that every time I had a document or presentation open, so I typed that in and it would be replaced with the full spelling of Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. So you can come up with shortcuts for yourself, enter them in the replace field and what they should be replaced with. Just make sure you add them after you've typed them and then click OK. So I'm going to close this up and let's look at some of the other options when correcting spelling in Microsoft Office programs. Notice this doesn't say PowerPoint only, it's all Microsoft Office programs. So ignore words that are in uppercase. Uppercase words will not be used in the spell checker as words that are not recognized in the dictionary. Same thing goes for words that contain numbers if these are checked off. Now if you prefer that they do get checked, just deselect them by clicking in the checkbox. Ignore internet and file addresses. So in the past, if you had, for example, an email address or an internet address, it would be recognized as a typo because it's not in the dictionary. Well, now PowerPoint's smart enough to recognize those as internet and file addresses and not to stop at them to offer you replacements for incorrectly spelled words. Flag repeated words, so it's going to automatically pick up on words that are repeated throughout your presentation, so you can use the Replace All button. And you can see I've got a couple here that are not selected by default, like Enforce Accented Uppercase in French. So if you're not using French, don't worry about it. And Suggest from Main Dictionary Only. Well, if you want to do that, then you wouldn't have access to all these custom dictionaries where you're adding your own words and so on. If I click on Custom Dictionaries, and if I wanted to look at what's in there, I simply come over here to edit the word list, and I've already got a few in here that are going to be recognized as in the dictionary, even though they're in a separate dictionary from the main one. So I'll hit cancel here, and you can add your own words, and I'll hit cancel again. So if you only wanted suggestions to come from the main dictionary, you click this checkbox, but if you don't mind them coming from your custom dictionaries as well, no problem. Down below, we've also got some options here. Spelling is checked as you type. So those red squiggly lines we see under words that are not recognized in the dictionary, that's where this comes from. So if we deselect that, then we know we're not going to actually see those red squiggly lines. And you'll notice that Hide Spelling Errors isn't even selectable. So if we do want it to check spelling as we type, but we don't want to see the red squiggly lines, we can hide the spelling errors. And we do that by clicking that checkbox. But we'll leave it unchecked so that we automatically see right away in a presentation where we've made errors. This is cool here too, and I've checked it off. Yours may not be, but you can check it off. I like it. Use contextual spelling. That means that it's going to pick up on the incorrect word when another word should be used, even if it's not misspelled. For example, the word there. T-H-E-I-R, T-H-E-R-E, or even T-H-E-Y''re. 3 ways to say there. And if you wanted to use contextual spelling, PowerPoint's going to pick up when you're using the wrong version. So I like that one. I keep that in there. I'll click OK, and let's just test that out. So here where it says increase our competitive advantage, I'm going to double click on our and hit the delete key on the keyboard to take it out. And I'm going to type in there, but I'm going to spell it incorrectly, T-H-E-R-E. Now that is not a spelling error. It's the correct spelling of the word there, but it's the wrong there. So when I hit the space bar and I just move my flashing cursor down to another bullet, look what happens. I get the red squiggly line because using contextual spelling, it recognizes that that's the wrong version of the word there. So if I right click on it, look at that, there's a replacement right there. And it is the correct spelling. I give it a click and it's all fixed up. Alright, so that covers many of the proofing options you have available to you in PowerPoint 2007. Experiment with those, try them out until you figure out exactly which ones you like to keep on or turn off.